What's the weirdest 6 act you've ever done alone? Using a home TNS machine to zap myself to finishing. I was quite thorny in my early teens. So I looked up innovative ways to masturbate. As it seems, if you hollow out a cucumber and microwave it, it does not feel like the inside of a angina. I was left with the most disgusting vegetable you've ever seen and a memory that lives under the surface of my dignity. Not me, but a dude that was a few years older than me in high school. This dude, Ted, decided that it was a good idea to frock a Head & Shoulders shampoo bottle while he was in the shower. His dig ended up getting stuck in the bottle and he had to go to the to get it removed. Afterward he was forever known as Ted & Shoulders. Started fingering my ass in like high school. But that wasn't enough. Went to Sharpie markers, but not enough. Had the idea to use a banana, but the bottom end had that hard, kinda sharp end on it. So what did I do? I used sandpaper to file it down to be smooth and an easy glide in. Needless to say, bananas don't last too long going up the ass. Not the act itself, I guess, but the event as a whole. We lived in the sticks, and internet shopping wasn't really a thing back then. Not that we had internet anyway. I was a thorny but resourceful teenage girl, so I willed myself a penis-like dildo out of a piece of firewood, sanded it, and varnished it. I was around 14 to 15 at the time. I tested it out once without a condom, and freaked out about the potential toxicity of the varnish. Then used a disposable latex glove because there were no condoms in the house, and the thought of buying them was mortifying. In the end I was too paranoid about it being found, so I tossed it into the fire the next time the fireplace was lit. Shoved a 2x2-inch bath bomb up my ass with plastic wrap still on. I tried to use hand sanitizer as lube once. Don't try it. I one day was bored and alone. My fiancée left her butt plug at my house that day. I figured nothing would happen if I tried, so I used it. Well, long story short, I couldn't get it out and had to call her to help me. My grandmother, bless her soul, was the sweetest, most innocent woman you'd ever met. She would stay with us sometimes and help out around the house. One year, for Christmas, she bought me a pack of hankies. Obviously confused, I wanted an explanation. She said to me that I need to use hankies to blow my nose into, instead of all my clothes, because she did the washing and saw all the crusty stains on them. ... I am sorry, Grandma. I am really sorry. Poured shampoo down my urethra, thinking it would generate some sort of pleasure. Narrator. It did not. One time I heated up a 5-layer bean burrito from Taco Bell for about 150 seconds before trying to use it as a fleshlight. I went balls deep and caused first-degree burn on my crotch. Yes, I was a teen when I did this. Yes, I worked at Taco Bell. No, I would not recommend. No, that's not how we made sour cream. Got so thorny that I masturbated with a carrot and went to see my then BF with the carrot still inside me. 20 minutes bus ride, just to be greeted by his mom at the door. Noped the frock out of there even before entering his place. Edit. WAU. Thanks guys. Made a fake angina with a rubber glove. Empty pasta sauce jar, a bath sponge and a rubber band, then frocked it for weeks as a lonely teenager. Dug a penis-size hole in the ground. Filled it with packing grease. Frocked it. Spent a whole day during school break lazy. In bed, seeing how many times I could ejaculate. The answer for 17-year-old me was 12 times. 44-year-old me has not yet repeated the experiment. But my guess is once. Once when I was a young teen I wanted to know what my cum tasted like, but licking it off my hand seemed gross, so I jerked off into a Tostitos scoop and then ate it. It would take me years to realize that cum is both salty but not that salty. I wrote a raunchy message to a girl on my phone but didn't send it. I aimed my erection at the phone and made a deal with my dig that if it could get hard enough to reach the send button, the message would get on its way. I wanted to make my own fleshlight, so I took the tube out of a roll of toilet paper and dunked the TP into warm water. I then put my dig into this warm mass of wet toilet paper. It felt decent but made such a mess. And the post-nut guilt was something else. Saw a thing in a hentai. Decided to try it out. Gave myself a UTI and thrush. If you're gonna frock a bottle, make sure to sterilize it first. In middle school, I once got a postcard from a girl I was super into. I'm pretty sure it was a generic bidet card. Anyway, I was so excited that I opened the card. Cut a hole in the middle and tried to frock it. Didn't go well. Do not recommend. Highly uncomfortable and painful. One time when I was like 11, my PS2 controller glitched out and it just vibrated non-stop. That's all I'll say. I used a wooden sword as a dildo when I was a teenager. At age 8 on vacation in Spain with my family. I made love to a Smarties tube, got my penis stuck, and then my brother busted me. He still call me Mr. Smarties sometimes. I am 26. Edit. After some quick Google searching I found out it was not a Smarties tube. It was a mini M&M tube. I guess the whole nickname thing is ruined. By the way, I sent my brother a screenshot of reaching 10K. He simply replied, "Legend. Thanks for all rewards." Role played 6 on a Minecraft server. When I was a kid I had the thought, if I could jerk off but keep the cum in me, would it feel good for longer? So I put scotch tape over my pee hole and went to town. Suffice to say it was very painful and I have a bit of a lasting trauma. Would not recommend. I used a soft fishing lure as a dildo and lotion as lube. Got super freaked out after. I was really high and paranoid. So I called poison control thinking I was going to die from the chemicals on the lure lol. I once took a soup spoon up my bum, the handle, with some Vaseline lube on. After I had to throw out the spoon, I just couldn't look at it again the same way. Edit changed the trademarked Vaseline to lube as it was a regular 6 lube. Tied my own legs to the bedposts behind my head but I tied them too tight so I had to cut myself out with a mechanical pencil on my nightstand. It took about 20 maybe more like 15 minutes. I would love to claim it, but I had a roommate in uni who used to be basically positions himself upside down against a wall. His legs, lower back and mid-back all against the wall. His weight bearing down on the back of his neck and shoulder blades. He used to wank in this position and come on his own face. He freely discussed this with me. Asked him why he wanted to come on his own face, and he just shrugged his shoulders. Frocked myself with a shampoo bottle on FaceTime with my ex. With my dead hands. I have a neurological condition. Flailing about uncontrollably, was thorny. In retrospect, not the sexiest I've ever looked. A friend of mine, no. Really. Loves to tell the story of when he was a young thorny teenager, and his mom had left a tuna fish sandwich for him after mowing the lawn. It was sitting on the counter, fresh, not cold, and he was inspired by the smell to take it into the bathroom where he literally frocked the tuna sandwich. Mortified by what he had done, he flushed it down the toilet and ate a bag of chips. It's his proudest, saddest moment as a kid. Tried to suck my own dick. Managed to get the head in my mouth. Did not feel like a blowthrob. Hurt my back. 2/10 do not recommend. Edit. This is my first ever post or comment to ever get a reward. Classic Reddit that it is about sucking my own dick. Wonderful. Thanks guys. Frocked a cabbage. PIV. Penis in vacuum. I was going through puberty. Make frock to the couch cushions. Ya know in between the crevice? Blew myself. Edit. Somebody reported me to Reddit for self-harm. Either inserting a popsicle into my ass, because I have a fetish for inserting really cold things inside me. And I've done it with ice cubes before. Or squirting shampoo into my ass because I thought maybe it would feel like someone coming inside me and, being a virgin at the time, I wanted to know what it was like. It was nothing like someone coming inside of me. And I would like to add that I do not recommend squirting shampoo anywhere inside of your body, ever. You know these weird intrusive thoughts you sometimes have when near somewhere you could jump from? Welp, one time I just put a butter knife up my V. Edit. Yes, blade first. No, it didn't hurt or cut me. I was lucky my heavily dissociated 14-yo self snapped back to reality fast enough to remove it carefully. I then scrubbed that thing like my life depended on it. Remember these things? And I know I'm not alone, but my once innocent childhood toy turned into a really bad fleshlight when I started going through a ton of puberty. Got a cheap game for my PS4 that made the controller vibrate a lot because my vibrator was broken. Edit. I swear I get so many wholesome awards just because of my username. My dudes. The name is about Blue Doc Martens. Wanked it while riding a tandem bike home from a fetish party. Edit to address some questions. Solo. Front. I often ride tandem solo because it's fun, less likely to be stolen and is quite useful for bringing someone home on. Currently working on rigging a small vibrator to the back seat with controls at the front. Yup. Username checks out. Redditor 9 years. And proud of this being my most upvoted comment. Thanks for the bling. Used my wife's Satisfier Pro 2 on my dig. I have rather religious and conservative parents. They decided to put off the sex talk, at least the details, until my senior year of high school. So when I started getting erections back in middle school, I had no idea what was going on, not really understanding them. I thought it was like an ache or some really weird itch. So to scratch it, I'd lie on my front in bed, press my groin against the mattress, and rock back and forth. TLDR. I humped my mattress until high school. Was in a class at school. Back then I would get turned on so easily. For some reason there was a photo of a hot girl in bikini and a mural on the wall. To this day I'm specially turned on by girls in swimsuits. I saw it and was instantly turned on. Spent the entire class thinking about it. The class ended. Couldn't hold myself. Decided I had to relieve myself right there. Hid myself below some chairs or something. Everyone left. Teacher left. I stood up, looked at the pic, almost exploding, started jerking off. Was done in seconds. Creamed everything, strangely. To this day, like 20 years later, I don't remember what happened next. Told this story before, but I've masturbated into an empty McFlurry container more than once. While I was alone at work, it's one of those things I look back on and think, what was I thinking? In my defense. 1. I was 17 or 18. Thorny. All the time. 2. McFlurry containers seem to be ergonomically designed for a quick cleanup, if you're wondering. Yes, you have to watch out for the edge of the container. Not very easy to use, but it just looks like a container with a hole, guys. Teenage horniness is just weird. 3. I was essentially a skeleton staff in a 2-person office where the other person was on vacation and I just had to keep the office running, take messages and write emails to prevent the office from seeming dead. I really hope that office didn't have cameras. My sexual adolescence was pretty weird. I would sometimes piss my pants on purpose sometimes. I would also beat my dig against a table. I also rubbed myself against poles when I was real young, and years later I realized it's weird. I look back at all these things with utter dread. I'll start by saying I'm glad I never got my dig ripped off. I was sexually repressed by religion and it led to weird 6 things. Our top-load washing machine had just the right amount of vibration. And I discovered I could run it with the lid open by jamming some pennies into the hinge area. The top of the spindle had a hole cup in the top, where you are supposed to add bleach or fabric softener, or apparently dig. Wrap my dig in something soft, lay across the washing machine and put it the bleach hole. Let me tell you, when it hit spin cycle, I didn't last long. Thanks for bringing up these horrifying times in my life. Edit. Thanks for all the awards and making this by far the most upvoted thing I've ever posted anywhere. In the virtual world, this is now my legacy. Damn it. Scrolling through this thread has assured me of my normalcy. Phone 6. I've only done it once with a so many years ago and I felt so damn awkward the entire time. She was way into it, but I couldn't even get a semi. I 100% faked my orgasm. I gave myself a hanging wedgie using the door while having clothespins on my nipples. I rubbed my dig until I came through the underwear. I started smoking weed occasionally about 15 years ago. I discovered it makes me extremely thorny. On a hunch one night, I smoked and then watched really hot porn. I refused to touch my dig. I got insanely hard, and started to feel the sensation of frocking the girl. My dig got so hard it literally hurt. My stomach tensed up incredibly hard as well. Before long I was breathing in and out super fast, and my hips involuntarily started thrusting. I came the hardest I had ever felt up to that point in my life. I passed out right afterward. I woke up maybe half an hour later and cleaned up the mess. My stomach and groin were sore the next day, like I had worked out. I have done this quite a few times since. Nothing will ever compare to that first time though. I frocked a goddamn trash bag. Edit. I hope no one I know will find my account. Just last year I masturbated to completion without touching my dig the entire time. I didn't rub up against anything either. I just humped the air and tucked my hips back so there was the slightest bit of friction between my thighs and the very base of my shaft between thrusts. I'm honestly kind of proud of that one. My first boyfriend got caught by his parents for filling a Ziploc with mustard and putting it between his bed mattress and frocking it. Parents walked in yellow dig mid-thrust. Stayed awake afterwards and had a nice conversation with myself. This thread is horrible, I can't stop reading. Every hole is worth trying. Used glue as a lube. My balls glued together. Not a fun conversation with my parents. Humped a couch. Almost got caught. Was finding something. Lol. During puberty, I used to cut cereal bags in half and fill them with lotion. Then I'd place the bag filled with lotion in between my mattresses and then frock it. You could control how much pressure you felt by applying downward force on top of the mattress. Saved my arm from getting tired. When I was a kid, I used to fall asleep during church service a lot. To remedy this, my mom would send me back to the lobby with my Bible and have me stay out there for the rest of the service. Eventually, to pass the time, I would go to the bathroom with my Bible in hand and start jerking it to Song of Solomon like I was reading Penthouse. How beautiful are your sandaled feet, princess. The curves of your thighs are like jewelry. The handiwork of a master. To your navel is a rounded bowl, it never lacks mixed wine. Your waist is a mound of wheat surrounded by lilies. 3 Your breasts are like 2 fawns, twins of a gazelle. Song of Solomon chapter 7, 1-3. I decided to frock a Hot Pocket fresh out of the microwave. Too hot. Waited for it to cool down. Went again. It fell apart. Finished. Overall, not a good experience. Would not recommend. When it was raining hard outside, I went out by the barn and stuck my finger in a hole in the mud, then made the ground my breech. As a boy, we lived near a large wooded area. When I got thorny, I'd take off all my clothes and see how far away I can walk from them. The thrill was exciting to me. Being denude outdoors, fear of being caught. It would always lead to a quick masturbation session, which once the hornies left me, I was left sometimes a 1/2 mile from my clothes, and that walk back was not nearly as thrilling. When I was a teen, I went to my local amusement park. Won one of those huge stuffed bears. Guess who became my new humping buddy? Sorry. Jingles. Edit. Why does this have 400 likes? Edit 2. Someone DM'd me saying they want to be my new Jingles. JFC. Edit 3. Everyone's going to thorny jail. When I was 13 or so, I was playing in the creek at the end of our road. Poking a big stick in the mud, I noticed it was a consistency that made a loud sucking noise when I pulled the stick back out. It was enough to get the wheels turning. And after I formed 2 nice mud patty boobs, I went to work. I'm not proud, but I seem to recall impregnating the earth being fairly satisfying. Used my other hand. Let me tell you, it throws ya for a loop. Used the showerhead, but when I moved into my first apartment there was no detachable showerhead, so I laid in the tub. Shoved myself down where my cleat was directly under the tap and had a go, several times. Frocked some Play-Doh. I was like 13 and saw a porn online and frocked myself with a raw hot dog. It wasn't great and I got a horrible infection. 1. Thank you to the asshole who reported this and got my account suspended for 3 days. I'm so ashamed writing this. Lol. Younger me. F. Had one of those huge teddy bear stuffed animals, like the giant people-sized ones. Well, one day I was thorny, and decided I was going to use duct tape, and tape down my dildo onto my stuffed bear's area. I then proceeded to ride him to climax. I'm so ashamed of this, even to this day. Edit. Thank you to the guys and gals who have liked and or commented to me. Also, those of you who gifted me awards. I thank you very much. Nothing spectacular. Inserted things where things hadn't ought to be inserted. Read my U. If it fits, I sits. Jerking off while reading these comments. I was around 15 to 16 and had no clue what 6 felt like. I wanted to frock something that felt remotely similar to a angina. So as you do, I made a small pancake. Let it cool off, but still pretty warm to stimulate the warmness inside a woman. I then wrapped it around my dig and went to town. Needless to say, it felt nothing like a angina. Not my proudest wank. To top it off, I ate the pancake after I came, as I thought, well, I can't let this go to waste. All the things we do for 2 minutes of euphoria. Wife and I made a dildo copy of my dig using Clone a Willy. One day I was messing around and put it in my ass. When people tell me to go frock myself, I literally have. One time I put my wiener in the hole of a glazed donut because I thought it would be hilarious to use for dig pics. My GF rubbed her cleat and came to completion on a 3-foot-tall porcelain statue of the Virgin Mary when she was a kid. Jerk off upside down with a aloe bottle and use my speakers as a dig vibrator. Edit song was Ghostmain Trenchcoat. Low by T-Pain. Edit how the frock do I turn off notice. Aloe pervs. I inflated a rubber glove and tried to frock it. It didn't work. Back when I was a freshman in high school, I was at a Boy Scout campout. One night I got extremely thorny, so I literally went into a porta potty with my uniform on, and just whacked off in there and aimed into the porta potty toilet. Now I can say I nutted in a porta potty. I used electrical alligator clips as nipple clamps as a kid. I used a creative combination of latex gloves and lotion while I was going through puberty to frock a couch. Not me, but some guy the first knew in my high school chemistry class told me he once frocked a watermelon. Cut a hole in my orangutan teddy that I had since birth and pumped the living daylights out it when I just discovered I could come. It ended up all crusty and I had to re-stuff it a couple times. Eventually my friend found it, put his finger in the hole and realized what he had just done, and that was the end of our friendship. It was around about then I realized what a disgrace I was and invested in an oven mitt, a packet of ham and a snorkel. ITT. People making me realize I'm nowhere near as weird as I thought I was. Attached a homemade fleshlight to a power drill. The end was extremely overwhelming. I'm a bit of a masochist. I tried having sex with one of those spiked Gatorade rings that keep the lid on before it's opened. Not recently. I like to think I've gotten smarter since last week. Someone has a weird fetish and is trying to get new ideas. Used a candle for anal while I straddled on top of it while jerking off. I was curious as a teenager and questioning whether I was bisexual or not. Turned out I was. Weird act that led to an enlightening moment years later. Ended up blowing my friend, which was great as well. I'm in a straight marriage now, but I do have toys that keep me occupied. Simultaneously eating popcorn and masturbating in a movie theater while watching The Lorax. Edit. Thank you for the awards. I feel I need to clear some things up. It was hella late, like a midnight showing. I was alone in the theater. And I was incredibly high. This was also the night prior to me deciding no more drugs except weed, which I use for my depression. Not necessarily super sexual. But I passionately made out, dry humped with a Dory plush when I was younger because of a massive crush I had on the character. Yes. I'm talking about the fish from Finding Nemo. Edit. Silver for this? Y'all are too kind. Thank you, stranger. Edit 2. Good God. This is my most upvoted and awarded comment. I'm not complaining. But what is going on? Time to switch to the alt to answer this honestly. Smelled my nut after. It smells like Bisquick. When I was 13, my sister's hot dorm mate came to stay with us for the summer. I was putting my dirty laundry in the hamper and saw her a pair of her panties, so I took them for a quick trip to my bedroom. Basically made out with them while nearly pulling my dig off. After coming all over them, and everything else in my room, I guiltily sneaked them back to the laundry. When the laundry was done, I saw my mom had sorted everyone's into their own piles. I almost passed out from panic, realizing I just traumatized myself when I saw the panties with my mom's clothes. When I was younger, I was told that putting ice between your ass cheeks would numb you anus and give you an orgasm while you masturbate. All it did was burn my asshole and made my balls shrivel up. Does not work. Can confirm. This thread really makes me feel pretty good about myself. Thank you all. I had a big plastic Harry Potter wand. Need I say more? As a kid, probably between 5 to 9, my grandparents owned a small town video store. The center of the room had a large support pole I could climb up. One day I slid down it like a firefighter and realized if I slid down slow it made my penis feel funny. Let's just say I spent probably a few hours that summer climbing and sliding down that support post in the middle of the store to feel a tickle on my pickle. Sucked myself off while fingering the back door. Swallowed. I killed a mosquito sitting on the bathroom wall with my cum splash. Jerked off while frocking myself in the ass with my mom's dildo. I did wash it before and after my experiment. Done it because I was curious about how does it feel. Also, I am not gay. I've been playing the ol' bidet blasting my asshole. Upper body bent to knees trying to come into my own belly button game lately. Got my dig stuck inside a toilet paper roll when I was a teen. Put it in semi-hard, but when it got hard it got stuck. The tip started turning angry colors. I freaked out for too long until I realized I could just tear the toilet paper roll. Thought about kissing a girl. I was on a decompression stop while diving off the coast of Hawaii. Jerked off before I had to transition to the next step. I miss all the good times in the Navy. 1. Saw myself in the mirror while jerking off just to see how I look while doing it. And to increase the fun, I would just rub the penis over its shadow on the mirror. 2. Gets to nude in home when nobody's there and jerk off whenever I start to get a little boner, which is every 30 minutes or so. I once masturbated over an anthill on a small island in the wilds of Canada. I imagined my semen was like manna falling from heaven to a starving city. They still tell tales of the great God standing over them as my cum rained down, and wait for my second coming. Not me. Mostly because I don't have a wiener, but my ex-husband started making these weird masturbatory tools at the end of our marriage. After he started doing hard drugs. At least twice a week I'd go to the bathroom at 3 a.m. to find these things. The one I remember most, he cut up our memory foam bed topper, rolled it around a nitrile glove, held it together with rubber bands. When I grabbed it to throw it away in disgust, cum everywhere. So many red flags that last year. Man. Not me. But a friend, wrapped his peen in a towel, placed it in between the cushions of a sofa and went at it.